Hello everybody, my name is Vendetta. Welcome back to another TDX video. Today, we're back with the spawners. We're back. The spawner gang has been thriving lately, especially with the new Behemoth and War Machine. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Who does not love some brand new spawners that are specifically meant for more endgame players? Anyways, yeah, today we have some interesting stuff for you. So, I've discovered that, compared to my last video where I dunked on Celgar with a bunch of spawners, that was pretty cool. You know, we did it once. Celgar, he didn't stand a chance. He did not stand an actual chance against all the spawners. But what I've actually gone and learned is that, I thought Nightmare was impossible. That was normal mode we did. Now, the one little thing. These two new towers, Behemoth and War Machine, have actually just gone and made Nightmare mode possible. I'm serious. I mean that. All right, we're gonna beat Nightmare Celgar with the two new spawner towers, and we have a little appearance from someone who's not a spawner, but it's not possible without it. Let me break the loadout down for you. So we got Barracks, anti-air turret, Relic, Golden Mobster, Behemoth Tank, and War Machine Factory. Now, these are all spawners, of course, they are, and Gmob is the only one with air detection. And the problem with this is, well, I mean, anti-air turret, that ain't no spawner. That is not a spawner, Vendetta. This does not count. Well, you know what, I would like to make a declaration as one of the head members of the spawner committee. Yeah, self-proclaimed. I would like to make a rule here that anti-air turret is allowed for spawner challenges, because anti-air turret, it feels different. You know, it ain't a normal tower. It's just to get rid of that pesky air. It can't help with the ground. The spawner still got to do most of the work. You just get rid of the air. I think that air turret can be allowed when it has to be. So yeah, unfortunately it's not doable. I mean, your options for air with spawners are just basically Gmob with the snipers. You have Top Path Behemoth, and you have Top Path Armored Factory with level 4 Humvees. So yeah, with those options, they're not great, especially considering the air enemies are super lethal in Christmas. So I've tried revolving the entire strategy around just getting rid of the air enemies with, just getting lots of Gmobs, getting lots of armored factories. I even tried getting a Top Path Behemoth on max level, but I mean, nothing works. It just does not work. It simply is not doable unless someone can find a way to do it, and I just missed it somehow. But I have tried my absolute hardest, and I don't think it's possible without anti-air turret. So, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right in with this spawner-only loadout featuring anti-air turret. Don't worry, Gmob is not on the path. Anti-air turret is the only thing that we use just to get rid of that air. Alright, so we're in-game here, and I'm just going to voice over this as it's just a little easier for me. Anyways, so we start the game, and we just start with the 1.5 times speed, and we're going to throw down Relics as our first play, because our goal here is basically just to get the first wave of bandits out, then we're going to upgrade all of the relics, and we're also going to try and go for archers here. You're pretty much fine for the first 3 waves, it's just that I will want the archers for wave 4. Archers hold off quite well, and they're basically the only way you can really combat against the Wendigo hunters, aside from using the sentries at the back. But you want to avoid using those sentries as much as possible in solo, because they don't give you any money if they shoot, so just try and use your spawners as much as you can to take out things. Here you can see the rest of everything that isn't an archer basically becomes useless because the Wendigo Hunters just one-shot it. That's because, well, I mean, they're not high health, so the Wendigo Hunters kind of just blast it. They're also melee units, so they really can't do anything about it. That's why I say you have to get all 4 archers and just rely on them to help you get that cash from waves 1 through 3. On wave 3, there's actually quite a lot of Wendigo Hunters. There's like 10 or something. So it's actually going to kill probably a lot of your archers, but you'll just have to slowly whittle them down. In some cases, you will have to end up relying on a bit of damage from the sentries. If you get lucky, the archers can actually outrange the Wendigo Hunters, and they can just stay far enough away so that they don't die. This game had a nice case, though, where I didn't have any damage taken from the door. I immediately go and place a War Machine, as my next plan is to basically stack upgrade War Machines for Wave 6. War Machine is super, super powerful in this mode, and it especially carries, especially on level 5, it's going to be very, very overpowered. They don't do a whole lot on the gingerbreads here. I know they have 100% bullet resistance, but War Machine does have passive rockets. Wave 5 is fairly straightforward here. You'll see the troops kind of just form a natural wall just past this gray band that I'm standing on. And the idea is, I'm going to start stacking my War Machines as soon as I notice that the Snow Gangsta there has spawned. Which, if you don't know what I'm trying to refer to, it's basically, I'm going to upgrade the War Machine, let them spawn, and then I'm going to upgrade them again, let them spawn, upgrade, let them spawn. You'll also notice here, there's a bit of a glitch on this map where War Machines, for some reason, go invisible at certain angles. I don't know why that happens, but it is very much annoying when you're trying to watch for when they spawn. Anyways, the idea here is to just get a level 4 War Machine and then just to start placing barracks. You could probably get away with using something else instead of barracks, like Zed or something, but I like having barracks for the unit density just to distract a lot of the air enemies. Here I'm going to stack upgrade the scouts as well. It's not really necessary, but I figure, you know, I might as well. So I get them all to level 1, and then I start upgrading them as soon as they come out. I do this all the way up until level 3, where Wave 7 basically starts. Now I'm going to place anti-air turrets, which I only need like 4 for now, but I will have to upgrade them later and possibly get more. Level 4 War Machine can basically hold the line for now. I actually get pretty lucky that none of the Belsnickles go on the same paths as my War Machines here. I make a bold play to actually upgrade my barracks here to level 4, which could actually impact me very bad because I'm also in the background saving up for a level 5 War Machine for Wave 7. It's a risky play, but I do decide to go for upgrading the barracks just one more time. However, in this case, it didn't really negatively affect me because I basically had enough for the War Machine upgrade as soon as I wanted to do it anyways. And there they are, level 5 War Machines, which they are, like I said, ridiculously overpowered. Some people say that the War Machine is just not good on the top path, but they just don't know what they're talking about. War Machine literally carries on everything on the top path. I do actually get a max AA there because it's just genuinely helpful to have an anti-air turret that can see all the way down the path. Then I go for my next War Machine here, as I am going to stack upgrade this one as well, just for the power we need for Wave 7. One of the biggest issues in this mode comes from the Elder Wendigo, but it's not the Elder Wendigo itself, it's actually the smaller Wendigos that it spawns once it gets into its second phase. Here I see some of those flying horse guys, and I decide to go for another anti-air turret just to get rid of them a little bit easier. There's the Elder Wendigo, and as you can see, it's about to get into its second phase, where it will spawn a bunch of those pesky Wendigos. Those are actually a bigger problem than the Elder Wendigo itself, so I need some back defense, which are just going to be War Machine spawns. As you see, I will end up taking a bit of damage here, but it's nothing I can't repair, so no big deal. I end up maxing all my barracks here just for the rail troopers, because why not? They're actually fairly good. Now, I actually didn't think Behemoth was actually going to be good on this because there's so much swarm, and Behemoth is basically a railgun tank. So I didn't think Behemoth was actually going to be good, but I found that there is a certain segment that Behemoth is basically required. Which you wouldn't expect, but I'm glad that Behemoth gets its place here because War Machine is so ridiculously overpowered and needed for this that it feels like Behemoth should also have a small place in this. And it does. There's only one real big concern left for the rest of this game, as pretty much everything else is a breeze. That concern is actually Celgar himself. That boss fight is a little bit difficult, especially when it comes to the double Elder Wendigos, for the exact same reason as the other one. Just those spawns are very, very annoying, and if your War Machines aren't timed right, you can actually just die there. Doing this took a lot of attempts and actually relies a little bit on luck. I know it's kind of weird to say it relies on luck, but it just depends on how things go. If Celgar kills your War Machines, if they spawn back quick enough, it all kind of just relies on some luck factors and just how things end up happening. And some of which just aren't in your control, and that can be frustrating for sure. If you want to attempt this, Just know it's gonna take a few tries and you will basically have to be perfect. Do not forget to heal your base because you need as much health as you can possibly get. The Ginger Dreads are now coming, and the best thing I can do for now is just try to get a level 5 War Machine again, just get some more out there. However, due to my money, I actually see the opportunity to just stack up some level 4s with the level 5s, so I do that, just let the level 4s spawn first. And then I go back to placing more Behemoths, and here I'm actually going to place some G-Mobs, upgraded a little bit on the top path. The reason that is because it actually just distracts the Ginger Dreads a little bit. It doesn't really do a whole lot, just kind of slows them down a little bit to keep them away from my base. The Behemoths and War Machines basically make short work of these guys, no big deal. Everything sort of dies when the Ginger Dread dies, but the War Machines do stay alive because of their large health pool. I get my last War Machine here, and as soon as this guy dies, I will start upgrading all my golden mobsters, so I have just more troop density and more DPS. Now I'm going to spam anti-air turrets for bait, which I didn't want to do this, but I found it is very, very, very difficult if you do not spam the anti-air for bait. That's why I put this off so much. I could have been doing this the whole time to just make the whole game so much easier, but I just decided to only do it for the last couple of waves when it actually was necessary. At this point, air isn't even a problem, so it's basically just bait at this point. I do get a couple more anti-air turrets on max back here, just to make sure I never have to worry about air ever again. This is the wave with Snow Apex and his army of predators, which isn't really a big deal, to be honest. The only thing that can negatively happen here is that Apex does a lot of damage to your base, which is annoying, but you can basically heal all that health back before the final fight starts anyways. It's important to note that unlike the Ginger Dreads, Apex will actually go for your spawner towers, so you might end up losing things like barracks, relics, you're going to lose G-Mobs, you might even lose a Behemoth. I lost one once, but just not in this game. There it is, that's where the big damage comes in. That's very annoying, especially because he has like 3 or 4 attacks that can just directly hit your base for no reason, so that does get very annoying, especially when you just have to constantly heal the base. But the quicker you kill Apex, the best. After Apex dies, it's basically just a game of replacing everything and just putting the bait back and just healing the base. We don't need too crazy of a bait for the final fight, but I do like to just cover the whole field just in case. Things can get pretty hectic in that last wave, and I just like to make absolutely sure that I wasn't going to die. Like I said, this is just ridiculously hard, and I make it look easy in this video, but I assure you, it's not that easy. Now that I have everything placed, like I said, I'm just going to start spamming anti-air turrets just because. Why not? I can. I'm sorry if frames get low in this part, or if they were low at any point in this video. The quality of the video, or I guess the game, might be kind of low because there's just so much happening. There's a lot of lag going on, so that's why it looks like that. Celgar himself here isn't actually that bad. You would think he would be very difficult to fight, but in all honesty, he's not. You just have to slowly chip away at his health before he can put his shield back up. And like I said, the biggest worry is just everything else in the field, not Celgar himself. I replaced my war machines here, and you're going to see me do that quite a few times in this fight, just so I can get them back out on the field. I even used bottom war machine, just in an attempt to push Celgar back, or maybe one of the Elder Wendigos. However, I think I'll shut up now and I'll let you enjoy the last fight without me yammering. And there you have it. So that is Nightmare beaten with only spawner towers.
Fine, I don't need those power crystals anyway, and I certainly don't need to infiltrate some pathetic base to get my hands on them. Frosty's army was a disappointment, just like you. Good luck staying alive, Commander. You're gonna need it.
Thank you all so very much for watching this video. Spawner towers is basically the principle of this channel at this point, and it's one of my most favorite things to do. And that first video where I did spawners only on Fortress Snowland Normal was just absolutely insane. It blew up. It's still my second most popular video till this day. So from that moment on, I knew you guys liked the spawner videos, and I mean, so do I. I love making them, so it means so very much that you guys watch them. And I mean, this is probably my most proud thing that I've ever done in this game. Admittedly, I've done the TDX marathon. That's probably number one, but this takes number two. This definitely takes number two. I am so very proud that I was able to do this with spawners. Of course, it's featuring anti-air turret, but in my eyes, anti-air turret should be allowed into the spawner gang. I know it's not a spawner. I know it's a tower. I know, but it's just to help with the pesky air enemies because spawners do not have good air selections. If a new spawner got added with, you know, like good anti-air, like its sole purpose was anti-air, then I would say anti-air turret should be not allowed. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Vendetta. We'll see you next time on the TDX channel. Bye-bye!